here with Jeannette Josue, who is the current Miss New York and the web TV reporter for MarblePlay. I understand that you do a lot of interviewing for sports. What other kind of things do you do for MarblePlay?
Well, MarblePlay is a social network, so there are different facets to my job, mostly running around and trying to capture sporting events. The story and the gist of MarblePlay TV is just to inspire people to do something active. But other than that, it's about capturing events, trying to actually book it and then edit and then produce it. And then the other side is the revenue side, where we have to start selling advertising. So if I'm calling you and say, hi, my name is Jeannette, you better start buying advertising from me.
So do you ever get to interview celebrity sports?
Yes, I think that's the best part of my job. Just the other day, we were covering a story for Top Spin charity. It's about celebrity athletes getting together playing ping pong.
Oh, wow.
And raising funds to help support nonprofit organizations that enforces education amongst children. I had basketball players like Allen Houston, interviewing them, and I think I'm okay. I'm not that tall, but I'm 5'7" on a good day, and interviewing a 6'4" basketball player means like, here's my camera guy like rolling up to see him and then rolling all the way down to see me. So Allen Houston's inspirational, New York Giants. There's a lot of celebrities, and it's funny because they're just as human as we are.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. What would you say is the most memorable person that you've ever interviewed?
Well, I have a big heart as far as Special Olympics is concerned. And despite every single athlete that I've went through interviewing them for MarblePlay TV, I think Bobby Fredericks and Tommy Wisniewski, who are athletes for Special Olympics. They are inspirational because they have intellectual disabilities, but they get out there, try to run, try to score a touchdown, or just do their personal best on a race. And that to me is more inspirational than not to say that NBA players aren't inspirational, but anyone that tries their best and their hardest to just do something that we as that are healthy with 4 limbs,
right, we take for granted.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so those interviews were definitely close to my heart.
Oh, that's very amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you have a big heart. I mean, personally knowing you, I know that you're very kind and sweethearted and thoughtful. What would you say is the next step for MarblePlay?
Well, MarblePlay is, again, it's a social network, but as far as the TV portion is concerned, we're trying to go live. That is one of the reasons why I love this job, and I'm putting a lot of effort into making our viewers really buy into our stories. One thing that we want to do is go out there and really inspire people on being health conscious. As you know, New York itself has been putting a large push on even just drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's to stop me from buying another 20-ounce drinks from somewhere else?
Right.
But I mean, health-wise, if you don't take care of yourself, then obviously everything else around you just kind of crumbles. So MarblePlay hopefully will go live, and we can help influence others to do better for themselves.
Well, that sounds very wonderful. Is there an estimated time frame that you think this is going to happen? We
always say that it's going to happen tomorrow, but that's really not the case. Everything is political, everything takes time, but we would hope our target would be a year.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, that's foreseeable.
So I will be on TV.
Okay. All right. I'll look forward to it.
And I'll be interviewing you.
Okay. Okay, so let's go to your pageantry side.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that famous wave. What is it? Wrist
and palm.
Wrist and palm. So what made you wanted to start going to pageants? How old were you?
I hated pageantry, actually. Well, wow. I didn't hate it. I didn't think that I was ever going to be part of pageantry. I remember sitting down and watching Miss USA with my grandmother, and watching these beautiful blonde hair, blue eyes girls, very pale complexion, sequins all over the place. I mean, you know how old I am. So I was in the era of evening gowns with sequins, but to me it was a little bit difficult to imagine an Asian girl of Philippine descent to just be on stage and compete amongst the natural cookie cutter beauties of America. As one day I was in high school and I was, being a bad kid, and it was either after school detention or volunteering, and the volunteering was in a network called the New Jersey's Perfect Teen Pageant, and I would rather be on stage than sitting after school and making up.
Who wouldn't?
Skip classes. But, I ended up winning the competition, and it changed a huge direction. It changed, at least me, taking a different turn. I won a scholarship, first of all, so I didn't think that I was ever going to go to college. I ended up going to NYU, and then just the volunteer work aspect of it, just meeting other influential people that really made me notice that life is so much more bigger than what I saw in high school.
Wow. So being bad paid off.
I always tell myself that. Bad is good sometimes.
Well, that's amazing, because normally, when you hear about women and teens who have gone into pageants, it's normally the mom that pushes them, you know? So yours is totally unique. And like you, I remember growing up and thinking, I'd like just the woman with the dark hair to win,
Exactly.
And I never even fathomed anybody of any ethnic other than Caucasian being on stage and winning. So the fact that you are reigning as Miss New York is awesome. What are your plans after your reign of New York is over?
Well, if I entered Ms. New York, the state competition, primarily because they had a huge foundation as far as supporting a cause or a platform of some sort. And what I think two and two came together, where working for MarblePlay and MarblePlay TV, I fell in love again with the Special Olympics of New Jersey, and then Special Olympics New York, where I wanted to help raise funds for children who can't afford kind of these after-school curriculi. And then that was my platform. I wanted to do something, so I entered the competition. And I thought, my whole goal was to change people's lives, and I got the tiara now. People are listening to me. But my whole entire year was just full of every single day volunteering, and then I noticed that it did so much more for me than I actually did for other people. So my next step would definitely be continue on doing what I'm doing. I now have a huge, profound and respect for the importance of volunteering, and I'm probably going to keep doing that. Another thing is this company that I now work for will support is organizations called the Solar Champion, where we partnered up with Nukiro, and Nukiro does solar light bulbs. And probably the next 2 years, what we want to do is provide solar light bulbs to families who live off the power grid, usually in third world countries. A lot of them are in Asia. And then for every 1,000 photos that we get of people holding up the Solar Champion photograph, Nukiro is donating 100 solar light bulbs to these families.
Wow.
So I'm probably going to try to do that, and then probably the year after I'll probably run for government mayor or something.
Well, you know what? I think that you should totally get Woman of the Year with all the stuff that you do.
Maybe the New York one. Volunteer of the week. But it's simple. I mean, it's just the rain. It's just part of something that you become, and I'm just trying to change the world. Yeah. Or let it change me, whichever comes first.
So, did you bring your sash with you by any chance?
I did, actually. I love showing it off. I don't get to wear it as often, so it's not every day you're in the subway and you're wearing it.
That's pretty amazing. Do you get stopped when you are wearing it and everybody asks for your picture, your autograph?
Well, that's kind of that's the cool part about it. Yeah, I wear it. I mean, if I could wear it, like I said, in the subway, I'd probably wear it every single day. Getting stuff for photographs is a thing. I mean, I used to model, so hey, why not? I live it up for another.
How long did you model for?
Modeling itself, I started when I was 16 after I won the teen competition. And
you're gorgeous. Why not?
Thank you. I tried. But it went on until it was a good run up until 28, and I stopped. And
wow.
Yeah. Wow. It was tough though, because you're Asian, so you have this whole. You understand, my father had this thing about me walking around with a portfolio with pictures of me wearing a swimsuit or straddling a guy for a jeans photo op, but it wasn't really something that they respected.
Right. Anything in the entertainment field, unless you're the star, but they don't seem to understand, especially the traditional Asian families. They really want you, the doctor, the lawyer, the accountant, Wall Street, as far as modeling goes. So did your family hinder you at all as far as?
Yes and no, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, they're parents, so they love you.
Right.
But the silence is a huge guilt killer. Every time I remember, like in high school or like when I was first going to NYU. I would go to these castings, and I got booked for one, and here and there, and I would tell my parents, and my father would just kind of like nod, like, yeah, sure. And he's always saying that education is much more important, the doctor, the lawyer. I mean, I went to pre-med, to pre-law, to psych, to every single major until I finally graduated, but it was never respected as far as the industry is concerned, as far as my family is concerned. I mean, modeling is not a career, If anything, it's more like you're soliciting yourself for something. And
that's if they don't understand how much hard work goes into it, and the dedication as far as your weight even goes, working out, eating right,
yes.
Having good skin, taking care of yourself physically. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that modeling is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, especially when you're running around, you're a model, so you go through these castings and you're looking to book because you're starving, you're tired of your ramen noodles or Ritz crackers if on a good day. But you want that support from your family because you want to come home and be like, oh, I had a bad day, and you want them to say, you're still beautiful inside, just keep going. But there are so many times when you just wanted to give up because that's their thing. They're like, well, just concentrate on school. Don't worry, this is just a side thing. And luckily for me, things turned around where they knew that I was very driven to do something in this industry, in the modeling industry, or in the pageant industry, or something in TV, which is my job right now.
Right.
But if it wasn't for them turning around and just opening their eyes a little bit more, I probably would be somewhere being a 9-to-5er for life and just not as happy. But I was lucky enough that they wound up just being supportive.
That's good. That's really good. I'm glad that you didn't give up.
I don't like to give up.
So with MarblePlay, which I'm sure keeps you extremely busy, you work 7 days a week?
Yeah.
And the pageantry, that being Miss New York, where do you find time for yourself? And do you find time for yourself?
Wow, that would probably be a question that my parents will be asking me this holiday coming up. The only time that I really have to spare would definitely just hitting the gym. That would be my good 45 minutes of therapy as far as running is concerned, and then taking care of myself. That's all I could really do right now. I mean, my schedule, as you know, is very busy, and
yes.
I'm finally glad that we're here together.
I know. You don't have any idea how lucky we are.
But personal life, personal things, that's just a wash at this moment. It's not that I don't want it to be a priority, but it's a little bit hard to kind of balance anything, just going out and having a drink or so, yes. or meeting the guy or dating in general. It's just, some things don't take priority because it can't at the moment. But I think that, you have to weigh your options. I can't live in front of TV forever. And so it's a pain to give up one thing for the other. But I guess, what I'm doing right now is better than waiting around to see if somebody's going to say, hey, would you like to go out with me?
Right.
Not that doesn't happen.
Oh, I'm sure, with the way you look. So at the end of the day, do you ever find yourself thinking, I wish I had someone to curl up with?
Oh my God, of course. Especially after I watch those dumb romantic comic movies. I'm just like, why can't somebody knock at the door and give me flowers?
Right.
Yeah, it's lonely. It sucks. I'm sorry to say, but I mean, it's the pain, I guess, of really being driven to be successful in one thing, and you have to give that up. And just even my friendships, my best friends, even he came here last weekend, but I was so busy with work and volunteering I couldn't even see him, and I probably won't be able to see him for another 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
I guess it goes for everybody. You have to do what you have to do in order to get to places. And what sucks is, I would love for somebody to, kiss during New Year's Eve when the ball drops. But I guess I'll be kissing my Chardonnay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that saying, actually my husband has a saying, and he says you have to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
And I know that he's used that a couple times, and it really hits like to what you're doing, because some people might say, well, why can't you work and be Miss New York and have a personal life? But if they knew how many hours that you sacrificed yourself for MarblePlay and for all these different volunteer things, and with Miss New York, they would understand that you just don't have it in you for sacrificing yourself even more for another person right now. But hopefully that will come for you. I'm sure it will in the future.
Fingers.
So do you foresee kids in the future?
I see a lot of kids. No. Do I foresee kids? Yes. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, the whole thing is like we never want to like fall asleep at night and ask what if I should have done, or how much should I have worked harder for something. Like, you don't want to regret certain things, and just the idea of working right now, hopefully it pays off to a point where my schedule lightens up and I will have time to raise children. And if I do raise them, the last thing I'm ever going to do is prevent them from doing something that they're passionate about.
That's wonderful. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's good. And have you ever felt like being Filipina has been a hindrance as far as modeling or pageantry or anything else that you've tried to do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, like when I was breaking into the modeling industry, the goddess was Kate Moss. So the look wasn't. It's not a sellable, marketable look, depending on the agency that you find. The fashion at that time was very waif, very grunge, and there was a lot of brunettes, a lot of freckles, a lot of just very thin girls. Luckily, I was on the thin side, so I had 1+, but that look it's tough. And another thing about being Philippine, when I was a kid, the first language was Tagalog. So I had this huge speech impediment. When my THs, CHs, SHs were always it was terrible when it came to speaking, especially speaking in front of camera.
Oh, wow.
So just that side of being Philippine is just the language wasn't the first, wasn't the spoken language at home. The look, the dark hair, the nose, it's a look that's unique, and it's not open to every single industry. Of course, it's just traditional values itself. Being at home, you'd rather be the girl that either never moves out until you're married, or gets educated, become a doctor, a lawyer, and you're sellable to the entire Filipino trade. But yeah, it's tough. But that's why we're all in America, is just to figure out what we can do.
So with this Hurricane Sandy that's hit us, were you affected by that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I had a car that was floating around for a couple of days. No power, no electricity. It was hard to travel back and forth. I stayed with my family in Jersey City. So, the good part is, we all got together and sat around our tables with candles, but the bad part is the food spoiled, car spoiled. I couldn't come to work for a while. But again, I'm a ramen noodle girl, so I did okay with that for a little bit. But thanks God to New York and the way they want to continue on, and we got power after a week. So.
Wow, after a week.
Yeah.
Oh, you say that like it's no big deal. It's a huge deal to be without power that long. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us and for letting me have the honor of interviewing you. And let's go.
Oh, definitely. Thanks, Sondra.
All right.